Hello again, and welcome to 7-ish Minutes at Supper. Thank you. My lovely family is here joining me again today, and we're going to be looking at the events that happened on Wednesday, April the 1st, AD 33. We've been looking at Holy Week and the events of every day on Holy Week and the significance of those events. And really immersing ourselves into the story, as we've said many times before, that Easter is going to feel different this year. But I believe that God is going to do something unique. Praying for that in my home, and so I'm hoping for the same in yours as well. And so Wednesday is somewhat of a quiet day in the Bible, and compared to the other days. So Sunday, as we look back, it was a very busy day as Jesus came into Jerusalem to the welcome of a king, and the celebration, the palm branches, and the praising of his name. That was Sunday. Monday, Jesus going into the temple and turning over the tables and driving out the moneylenders and those doing business in the temple. And then Tuesday, just getting bombarded right away by all the religious leaders of really who gave him the authority to do what he did on Monday. And so we had controversy, we had disruption, we had praise, we had big crowds, and then we come to Wednesday, and the Bible doesn't give us much for Wednesday. But what we do know was extremely significant. So in Mark chapter 14, in just 2 verses that we're going to read today, that we know happened on the Wednesday, it says this: "It was 2 days before the Passover and the festival of unleavened bread. The chief priests and the scribes were looking for a cunning way to arrest Jesus and kill him. Not during the festival, they said, so that there won't be a riot among the people." So what happened on Wednesday, even though we don't have a lot from Scripture in many events or really a lot of detail, but what we do know is that on Wednesday, there was a private meeting. Caiaphas, both in Matthew and Luke, will say, held a secret meeting of the religious leaders to discuss killing or arresting Jesus. And so, and what we know just from this text is that they decided not to do it during the festival, which is interesting because it ended up happening during the festival. But most likely would have been looking till next week, even till the end of next week, looking at the fact that a lot of people would have dispersed and gone home and a lot more quieter. See, because again, the crowds were gaining, Jesus was gaining popularity with the crowds. So on the Wednesday, there was a secret meeting, Caiaphas at his private residence with a few of the leaders, we don't know how many, but their plan was now, the verdict was in, Jesus is going to be arrested. They had had enough. But we do know actually what Jesus was doing that day. See, Luke tells us in Luke 21, verses 37 and 38, it says, "During the day, he was teaching in the temple, but in the evening he would go out and spend the night on what was called the Mount of Olives. Then all the people would come early in the morning to hear him in the temple." So on Wednesday, what was Jesus doing? He was in the temple and he was teaching. Now, I think this is significant. Again, even though we don't have a lot of detail of the day, but we do know, again, the leaders were plotting to arrest Jesus. But remember, Jesus knows everything that's happening. He knows all that is going on. He is well aware that this meeting is happening. It's actually, we could go to Acts 2 and show the evidence that it was predestined to happen. But Jesus is well aware of this, and it doesn't stop him from teaching. It doesn't stop him from preaching. It doesn't stop him from loving on the people in the temple. And so that is extremely significant. And hopefully that you see that. And so I'll leave you with just this final thought. Nothing is going to stop Jesus from speaking truth and love to people. Not a secret plan, not a secret meeting. He wasn't distracted in the least bit. And that's hopefully encouraging for you, encouraging for us, that nothing will ever stop Jesus from getting his truth and his love to you. Thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.